All right. New name alert. New name alert. My podcast is now called That's Camellia Podcast. Yes, the name has changed to That's Camellia Podcast. And guess what? We have the same mission, the same vision, same voice, and we're still going to answer all of those how to questions. Have you ever experienced this? And how do you handle this challenge, Camellia? We're still going to address all of those questions. And we have an amazing lineup of guests for this year. So come on, let's get into it with That's Camellia Podcast. This episode is going to be about self compassion. Self compassion and contentment. Are they related? Can you have self compassion and contentment at the same time? What do you think? Well, in my opinion, self compassion, that's treating yourself with kindness. We've been talking about that in several episodes where we're treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, giving ourselves some grace, remember? And particularly in hard times, in difficult times, when you fail and when there's suffering, when there's loss, still being compassionate to yourself, to give yourself some grace, give yourself some forgiveness, give yourself some mercy. So, self compassion to me, it encompasses all of these things. It's recognizing that you're not going to get it right all the time. You're going to fail, and failing is okay. But understanding all of our imperfections and our mistakes, that is part of life. That's where compassion comes for yourself. I think also having self compassion is being taking inventory of your own emotions, of your own judgments, and offering yourself the same type of consideration and care that you would give to someone else, you offer it to yourself. Not being so critical to yourself. Because you wouldn't be critical to someone, to your best friend. Well, you might, but you might offer someone else some compassion and some grace. So, with self compassion, you offer that same thing to yourself. That means being kind to yourself, being gentle to yourself, and acknowledging what you struggle with. You have some type of support system where you have a safe space where you can be real, where you can just be you, and you can share your struggles, your strengths, your weaknesses, and you can have some kindness and some empathy for yourself, and realize that, guess what, you are human, and we are all dealing with the same thing. It might not be the same exact specific challenge that you have, but we all have our own things. And we all need to give ourselves some grace. We all need to have self compassion for ourselves, being mindful of our own emotions, because it starts there. It starts right in our mind, right? That's the first place. The biggest thing I want you to take away from these episodes is that it starts in your mind. And if we're kind to ourselves within our mind, and from our mind will come out actions of kindness toward ourselves first, and then toward the community, and then toward others. Okay? So I'm going back on contentment. When we think about contentment versus self compassion. So again, contentment to me, it's about being happy about your current situation. So it often deals with whatever's going on in your life. If you're fulfilled in your career, fulfilled in your marriage, fulfilled with your children, you're grateful, you have a lot of peace about what's going on in this stage in your life, you're peaceful, you're content. And I come again. Is it enough to be content with yourself? At the end of this, I would like you to say, it is more than enough. There's an old hymnal that says, it is well with my soul. So it is well. So contentment can arise We have that from our personal achieving any personal goals that we might have, any positive relationships that's going on, any joys that's happening in your life. I am greatly contented when I see my grandbaby, when she smiles at me or when she's just getting into her own little things. My heart just explodes with love, explodes with goodness, and I am content with life just because I'm looking at my granddaughter. So it doesn't mean that everything is going on perfectly well in my life, in my career, in my marriage, in my family life, and everything else. But if I see my grandbaby and she's just doing her little thing with her little toes and her little feet, and she's just picking up things, I get so my heart just explodes with this special type of love, right? So that contentment comes up. It makes me content because of my current situation. Does that make sense? I kind of combine the two, but that contentment makes me feel compassionate toward myself because I look at my grandbaby. Does that help you? So, contentment and self compassion. Tell me, what do you think? How does that play into what you can do to show compassion to yourself and also be content with wherever you are in life at this moment? So, let's talk about some tips and some things you can do to express and to help cultivate self compassion. So, practice mindfulness, being kind to yourself, acknowledging some imperfections, like we talked about earlier, cultivating some self awareness, being aware about what's going on. Pay attention to your emotions, physical things that are going on with your body, with you, and identify when you're feeling kind of stressed or anxious or overwhelmed. So take some steps to practice and to identify those things when it's happening. Set realistic expectations. That means avoid setting overly high standards, having 20 things on your to do list when actually you could probably only have about 10, or you might only need about 5 of those. So don't put too much on your plate that could make you be anxious. One of my biggest things that I always talk about to cultivate self compassion is self talk. Realize what you're saying about yourself in your mind and then when it comes out your mouth. So challenge any critical thoughts and reframe them so that they're positive. So instead of saying something like, "Oh, I'm a failure," or I'm never going to be able to do this, change that up, reframe that up and say, "I am doing the best I can. I can do this. I am smart. I have quick understanding. I have the solution to all problems. I can do this. I have a great memory and I have great judgment. I have sound judgment. I have good common sense." That's reframing any negative and critical thoughts that are going on in your head. So you have to tackle it quickly and then get support. Get support, get some family, get your friends, and even a coach, a life coach if you need one, but get you some support where you can share your experiences in a safe space without judgment and without validation, but you're just being you. You need a place where safety where you can just express yourself and engage in self-care. What activities do you like to do? Whatever it is, what do you like to do? Do you like to sit quietly by a pool? Do you like read a book? Do you like taking nights walks? Whatever it is that cultivates your mind, your body, that's nourishment to your mind, your body, and your soul. Whatever that hobby is, that relaxation, if it's yoga, meditation, do that. And one of the biggest things is to practice forgiveness of yourself. Past mistakes. Let go of those feelings of guilt and shame. I want to say that again. Let go of those feelings of guilt and shame from past mistakes. Do not hold on to negative emotions because it will perpetuate a bitterness in your spirit and in your mind, in your body. Forgive yourself and let go of that guilt and shame. Be patient and be persistent. Self-compassion, it's a process and it takes time and it takes practice. This is something that you have to be intentionally doing and mindfully doing every day, being aware. And you have to be patient with yourself. Some of us, we don't get it the first round. It might take us two, three, four, five. Oh, it can go down the list before we get it. But that's okay. Be kind to yourself because you have to be kind to yourself so you're not critical and start beating yourself up in your mind. Don't do that. Be patient with yourself. Nurture yourself. Tell yourself you are doing a good job. If you missed it the first time, say, okay, well, I missed it that time. I'll get it right the second time. Now, this could be challenging and it could be tedious. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And guess what? You are worth all that work. You are worth all that work. Self-compassion will bring you to contentment. All right. Wow. Well, that's all we have for today on That's Camellia podcast. Join me next time. Until then, have a blessed day.